We spent part of this day under a cold, gray October sky, halfway expecting to find the four horsemen of Notre Dame. We did not, but what we did find instead, rain and snow, which have forced us inside for the conclusion of the 1995 Illinois High School Association Girls Tennis Championships. Welcome in. I'm Brian Davis alongside Corky Layton. We'll bring it to you this afternoon from the River Trails Tennis Center in Arlington Heights. And Corky, we're looking, first of all, for a replacement in the singles segment. Catherine Nasser, the defending champion from Hersey High School, eliminated in the quarterfinals. But we are looking at the possibility of a repeat, both in the team competition and in doubles.
Right. We have, in the finals of the doubles, we have the New Trier team of Rachel Sigmund and Blair Rubenstein. A very strong team, and they're matched against another strong team, the defending state champions from Barrington, Laura Maloney and Shannon Tahaney.
What can we expect as far as the competition? What kind of a pace will this match take today?
It's going to be quick. It's going to be very fast. These teams both had three-set matches in the semis, but I think they've adjusted to the indoor conditions, and I think they're going to play the aggressive style that they've done throughout the tournament.
How will the change to indoors affect the overall quality of this competition?
Well, I think it's very tough. I think these girls are all used to playing inside, but I think it's going to be a lot faster than it might have been outside when they could take more time to work the points and maybe wear their opponents down.
Barrington has won the toss and will serve first. We'll be right back with the start of the 1995 IHSA Doubles Tennis Championships on Sports Channel. The defending champions from Barrington will serve first. The left-hander Laura Maloney, the junior, and her teammate Shannon Tahaney, who is a senior going into this year. They won their semifinal match 6-7, 6-love, 6-1 over Nicole Griglione and Maria Kermath from Champaign Centennial High School. New Trier, represented by Blair Rubenstein and Rachel Sigmund, a pair of juniors, advanced to these finals with a hard-fought 2-6, 7-5, 6-2 victory over Belleville West. Brian Davis and Corky Layton, and Corky, the left-hander Laura Maloney, will serve first.
I believe that was a double fault on this ball.
Outside the box.
She's going for that big hook lefty serve. This is what we expected to see, Brian. This is attack tennis. They're all over the ball. Both teams are trying to drive it and get in as soon as they can.
So 15 all. And Laura Maloney, the junior, to serve again. Once again outside the box. She really brings it, Corky.
Yeah, I think she's going to stay with the spin. It's been pretty effective for her to now.
Yeah, and long.
It is power against power. You know, Rubenstein really drove that return, but Maloney was all over the volley, and Sigmund had no time to react.
30-15. One of the things that you will notice, fans, is the communication on both sides of the net. These teams talk and talk a lot. Let's serve out. Communications, especially in doubles, Corky, is a huge part of it.
Absolutely. You'll see them slap hands, win or lose. Keep each other pumped up. They want to make sure they stay in constant contact with each other. The worst thing that could happen is that the two people get separated mentally. They want to play as a team, two bodies and one mind.
And on the double fault, 30 all. Early in the first game of the first set of the doubles championship.
Well, that lob was a little short by Rubenstein. I think the New Trier team got lucky there. Maloney just missing wide on the overhead. Oh, here they come on the replay. Going up for the lob, and this is Maloney. She just opened up a little too early, and that thing slid wide. Well, that's a nice angle by Tahaney. She really followed in that overhead really well.
And we are at 40 all. Corky.
Here she is, moving in close and just knocking off that angle. When you got both players back, you want to make sure you use the angle as often as you can.
40 all, but not deuce, correct?
Yeah, they're going to be playing with a no-ad scoring here. There's another nice angle, and that's the game.
So Barrington takes the early 1-love lead over New Trier.
You can see how the attacking team is going to really control this match. They're up on top of the net, and the two people at the baseline don't have a chance on that angle volley.
New Trier advanced out of the quarterfinals with a 6-1, 6-3 victory over Champaign Centennial High School, which was coming off of an emotional 5-2 or an emotional victory over Lake Forest High School. So they were gassed. New Trier advanced.
Right. New Trier
on the road to the finals. There you see it. Belleville West again in the semifinals.
Here we have a
Champaign
picture of
Centennial
Coach
in the quarters.
Russ Pollender working with the New Trier girls, trying to pump them up, work over the strategy and tactics. I'm sure the Barrington coach, C.C. Cahill, was doing the same thing with her team before they switched.
C.C. Cahill in her own right. Well, she is not devoid of accomplishment, a 2-time singles champion. She played at Hinsdale Central. Now the serve.
Okay, that was a duck volley. Those are the ones you got to make. Got to stay awake, stay focused, and put those volleys away.
So love 15. In the near court, New Trier, and in the far court is Barrington.
Okay, Tahaney closed in real well after that return and caught Sigmund a little flat-footed. It's a nice serve. Here's the volley. Down the line. She just got caught moving the wrong way there. And that ball just sailed out. Well, there's that attacking style again for Barrington. Tahaney poached on that forehand by Rubenstein. And again, Sigmund had very little time. First serve, but a better return, and Laura Maloney was all over the next shot. Hit that overhead down the middle. New Trier team had no chance. Okay, here's the serve. Okay, nice deep serve, very deep return, barely gets her racket on it, and Maloney is all over the overhead.
And with the break in service, sorry Corky, Barrington has taken a 2-love lead here in the first set.
Return was just a little wide. Maybe trying to make it a little too good.
Now you will notice Rubenstein and Sigmund understand that they have a lot of time left. There's never any need to rush or put too much pressure on yourself. You can play this point by point.
Okay. Sigmund missed it down the line there. I think that's a good move against a poaching team. You've got to keep them honest by trying to go down the line every so often. She missed the shot, but she serve noticed that that's a shot she's going to try to hit.
Tahaney serving 30 love. With a rocket into the corner.
Yeah, she hammered that one.
Keep your head up today,
doubt.
Corky.
No
Keep your head up today.
Okay. She really stretched her out on the down the line, but she bounced right back. Laura bounced right back and just put the ball away. Well, Tahaney closed in. She was in the right place for that shot. I thought she tried to make it a little too good. Sigmund hit a good return, but it wasn't that good.
So you're getting the point, but at what point do you begin at 40-15 to talk about changing your strategy?
Well, I think right now they're just a little bit intimidated by all this aggressiveness. They're trying to hit short angle returns. They're starting to mix up their returns a little bit. But obviously that standard driving return isn't doing them a whole lot of good right now because Barrington is all over those returns.
40-30.
Okay, there was an attempt at a short chip, which is a good play against a team coming to the net.
Some confusion here. And Tahaney will take it back into the far court and serve again.
That's insane. But a better angle coming back.
What a shot by Shannon Tahaney for Barrington to give the Phillies a 3-love lead.
This is an example of great feet and hands. She's just all over that ball. She was totally out of position and came up with a terrific shot.
One of the things that we noticed throughout the round of 16 in the quarterfinal play and then coming into the semifinals today, Maloney and Tahaney, all of these teams, when you get to this level, you're going to be emotional, you're going to be charged up. But as we get ready to take a look at the Phillies' road to the finals, you look at Maloney and Tahaney, and they are at the top when it comes to that on-court emotion.
Absolutely. They had a little bit of a struggle in the second round against Lions, but after talking to their coach, Cece Cahill, she mentioned that this team has been playing on and off and only really playing doubles together during the invitationals. They are working their way into this tournament. They had to struggle outdoors in the first set in their semifinal match, but once they came inside, they put it together.
Rachel Sigmund will try to get New Trier back into this. Barrington leading 3-love. And 15-love.
Nice serve. Maloney just caught that ball too late. Tried to hit it way too hard. This is a nice deep serve, and she just can't get the ball far enough out in front. Okay, there's that intimidation factor again. I think Rachel was trying to hit that ball very low to keep it away from Laura at the net and put it in the net.
The Barrington players very active.
All
very
over the
active.
court. Always looking to move in and cut off an angle whenever it's available.
First serve at 15 all out of the box. That's a good one.
Well, Rubenstein attempted a poach there, then backed off, and it was just, it's one of those things, if they don't, I will.
For the uninitiated, if you would define the poach here as we take a look
here
at
they're
it.
crossing. Now watch, Rubenstein starts to go across to get this ball, lets it go, and then the Barrington team moves in, ends the point. Great return. Sigmund moved in that time instead of staying back on her serve, and that volley she took right off the ground. Here's the return, and this is just great stuff. Very low, right at her feet, barely got her racket on it, and the ball sailed long.
15-40.
Yeah, if this New Trier team wants to get back in this match, they got to hit a lot of deep serves in, because with an attacking team like Barrington, they're going to be all over any short serves. That was a fine second serve by Rachel Sigmund.
One of the ways that you can judge the flow of a match is body language. And as Sigmund nets another, beginning to see already, Corky, a little slump of the shoulders. It's one of those things you start fighting yourself mentally.
All right, and there's a double fault.
The double fault.
Yeah, you've got to have a high first serve percentage in doubles if you want to win. It's the only way you're going to cover.
Barrington takes a 4-love lead.
Right, and you're right. This Barrington team is smiled and pumped, and they're moving around, talking to each other, ready to go. New Trier moving back into position a little slowly. They've got, if they're going to turn this match around, they really have to start playing more aggressive, and they've got to make their shots count. Okay, that ball is out. And he started to move across the middle, and this ball came right at her, and she just couldn't move out of the way in time.
So as Laura Maloney gets set to serve love 15, an advantage for the moment for New Trier. Now we've got some conversation between the umpire and the line judge.
Okay, that was a good serve. Maloney probably has the best serve on the court. She's got a lot of spin on the serve. She moves it around, and again, it's unusual to play against a lefty, so it's hard to work against that spin. Barrington hit and recover all over the place there. They were pushed back. The New Trier lob, and Tahaney came back in and closed it out. Here's the lob that pushes her back, but she just comes right back in and drills that ball and recovers. Good continuation, drives the ball off the court to the side.
15-30.
Yeah, that's the serve I was talking about. That's sliding right off Rachel Sigmund's racket. She's got to move in a little closer if she wants to make good contact on that spin.
And at 30-all, I wonder whether or not just for the moment up 4-0, Barrington began to relax a little bit, which even at 40-love, you never really can do.
Right. Turn a match around. At this level, you can turn around a match at any time. And I know they have to stay tight, and 4 games is not enough to win a set.
30-40, New Trier bidding for the break of service.
It's a nice return.
And accomplishing same.
Yeah. Well, Tahaney's been trying to cut across the middle and cut off some of these returns, and Sigmund's been working the ball down the line, and she made that last shot very clearly out of Tahaney's reach.
So New Trier gets on the board 4-1. The 1995 Illinois High School Association Doubles Championship continues momentarily on Sports Channel. Brian Davis and Corky Layton back at the girls doubles finals in Arlington Heights. New Trier will serve, having cut into Barrington's advantage. The Phillies up 4 games to 1.
That's tough tennis. Both teams working. New Trier mostly on defense that time. Barrington moving in, closing it off. Here's an angle pulling Rubenstein off the court. Tahaney moves in. And bang. Ends this one down the middle.
On their last shot, Sigmund telling Rubenstein, it's yours, it's yours. The quarterback situation. We'll talk about that in a minute. Love 30.
They just have to start reacting. New Trier's going to have to start reacting better, quicker, sooner. Anticipate some of these situations. Barrington is just there in a groove here. Laura Maloney really hamstrung on that last shot and managed to hit a winning volley.
Sigmund telling Rubenstein over on the New Trier side in the near court, hey, come on, let's go. We'll just get after it, stay after it, love 30. Sigmund seems to be the quarterback on this team, where Maloney seems to take that role for Barrington more often than not.
I think there's a clear leadership role that's established by a team. It will go back and forth a little bit during the match, but in the pressure situations, there's usually one key player, and that player has to stay on top of what's going on, keep the other player up, motivated, and ready to go all the time.
Barrington 1 point at love 40, looking at it from New Trier's end with the Trevian service. Barrington 1 point away from taking a commanding 5 games to 1 advantage here in the first set. Barrington has already broken New Trier's service twice.
little bit of luck on that volley, but they were definitely in control of the point the whole way. New Trier is playing defense. The lobs are a little short. They're not attacking the ball. Barrington is very much in control right now.
And when you look at
the New Trier team consulting here, but they've got to change their strategy somehow to get the Barrington team back off track here.
Tahaney the service and 15 love.
Nice deep serve by Shannon Tahaney. Again, because she's coming to the net so quickly, Rubenstein trying to pull that ball down at her feet and ended up putting the ball in the net. Here's the return right here. It's in the net. She's swinging really fast trying to pull that ball down at Shannon's feet. Sigmund's return was just a little high, and Tahaney was able to hit a pretty tough volley there. Sigmund mishit the ball wide.
30 love. Love. Or was that a fault?
That's a fault. Shannon Tahaney is all over the court here. She is pumped up and ready to go. She's digging them out from everywhere. Look at this continuation. Her never stop moving. And Laura Maloney is there at the end to put the ball away.
So Barrington with the 5-1 lead. And serving.
Yeah, well, at triple set point, it's easy to be aggressive. It's not that they haven't been aggressive the whole day. Laura Maloney took off real early. Rachel Sigmund just wanted to put the ball back in play. Here we come with the return right here, and Laura's already gone. She knows she's going to put that ball away down the middle, and it's over.
So Barrington wins the first set 6-1. We'll be back for the second set momentarily on Sports Channel. Brian Davis and Corky Leighton. Barrington won the first set 6-1. Rachel Sigmund parks her first serve outside the box for New Trier here to begin the second set.
All right, Rubenstein was going on that. Maloney mishit the return, but Rubenstein was definitely going. We're seeing a change here in the New Trier strategy. It looks like they're going to be playing this one much more aggressive. Sigmund has got her first serve in.
If you take a look at the stats in the first set again, Barrington broke New Trier 3 times. The Trevians came back once.
Okay, another good first serve from Rachel Sigmund here.
Barrington had the disadvantage, I guess you'd call it, here 30 love and double faults. No aces in the first set. Long serve again from Sigmund.
In the far court.
Well, that's right down the middle. Sometimes a little indecisive when that ball floats down the middle, not knowing which person is going to take the ball. Here's the return. And Tahaney lets it go, thinking Maloney's going to take it. Maloney lets it go, and it drops in.
In that far court for New Trier, pair of juniors. Rachel Sigmund is serving. Her partner is Blair Rubenstein. And in the near court for the defending champion Barrington Phillies,
Shannon Tahaney and a rocket there to finish that point.
Right, Shannon took a little bit of a gamble there, just drilling that return. Here's the second serve. Look how far inside the baseline she is there. Sigmund hits the ball off her back foot, setting up Tahaney, and she ends the point. Oh, that's nice touch. Again, Maloney gambled, running in full speed, trying to cut off the angle. Sigmund with the touch lob volley over her head. No chance for that ball. She's just too close to the net.
New Trier wins the first game.
That's got to be a morale booster.
for a 1-love lead in the second set. Again, a hard-fought semifinal against Belleville West, in which they lost the first set, went to a tiebreaker in the second set, and then when we came indoors here to River Trails, Corky, they won the third set easily over Belleville West, 6-2.
They played much more aggressively. They were starting to slow down outside, but when they came inside, it seemed like their confidence level lifted. They started playing more aggressively, taking more chances, and were playing the way they played in that last game and the way Barrington played the entire first set.
When you look at the styles between these two teams, it seems like Barrington, the harder hitting pair, and Rubenstein and Sigmund from New Trier need to use that touch a little bit more effectively, a little bit more to their advantage, because Barrington, if you try to get into a power game, will probably beat you.
Well, there Rubenstein missed. He tried. There was the touch right there. I think it's very difficult to change your style of play this late in the tournament. You have to go with your best stuff. And even if the other team appears to be more aggressive, backing down at this point probably isn't going to be a good choice for New Trier.
15-love to Haney serving again.
Okay, Sigmund again going for the down the line. Okay, Rubenstein. She missed the shot, but Rubenstein congratulate her on the attempt anyhow.
30-love.
Nice deep serve. Rubenstein solid ball, but right in the top of the net.
Here we'll take a look at it again.
This ball's almost on the service line, very deep. And Rubenstein is trying to hit the ball at Shannon's feet as she moves in. Good rally. A little bit of indecision on the part of both teams as the point progressed. I think it's important that somebody decide who's going to hit this ball. Rubenstein picks it up at the last second.
Barrington.
There's a nice angle by Shannon Tahaney.
Barrington ties it at 1. A lot of balls hit straight in that rally out of the air.
Very important to try to hit the ball soon enough that your opponent doesn't have time to recover. You're trying to catch them out of position and off balance.
Blair Rubenstein will serve it up for the Trevians of New Trier High School. One of the teams that in Illinois has got a tremendous history as far as success in this sport.
New Trier has some of the best teams that have come out of the girls teams that have come out of the state of Illinois have gone through the New Trier system.
Love 15. Well, when you take a look at it,
a nice Laura Maloney getting in right on the line. Good touch. Rachel Sigmund right there, cut the ball off, playing a little bit more aggressive on Rubenstein's serve, ready to go. Put that ball away right down the middle.
When you take a look at
jammed a little bit, but she put it away.
At New Trier at one point won 4 out of 5 championships and then won 3 more in a row. In 1986, 87, and 88.
New Trier seems to have a lot of talent in their area. This is one of their high-quality doubles teams. They've come up through a system. These girls have played together for several years, and they've been challenged. Actually, at one point during the season, Sigmund and Rubenstein were playing it too because their second doubles team was so strong.
15-40.
Okay, Laura Maloney puts the ball right at Blair's feet right there. She couldn't get the ball up in the air. Now this is a tough place to be for New Trier. Double break point. They were on a roll. They won their first service game relatively easily. They were playing aggressively, and now they're down. That ball just long. Blair Rubenstein hit a great forehand there. Laura Maloney was a little bit late coming into the net behind the volley, and the ball's right at her feet. Here's the return. Moving in closely. right at her feet, and Laura can't get the ball up.
And as they get to 30 and 40, great slap of hands between the two from New Trier. Good charge of energy.
I think they feel like they're back on a little bit too much energy on that serve. It sailed long. But I think they feel like they're getting back on track here.
Moment to moment, you have to worry about that when you play this game, don't you?
Absolutely. It's very tight. A lot of pressure. Okay, Laura Maloney again gambling.
As Barrington breaks for the 4th time today.
Absolutely. Good deep return. Maloney moving in, putting the ball right down, big opening down the middle, taking advantage of it, putting the ball away, ending the point. Playing aggressive. The aggressor today is going to be the winner.
So Barrington will serve with a 2-1 lead. Davis and Layton back at River Trails in Arlington Heights momentarily. It's the IHSA doubles finals on Sports Channel. Barrington won the first set 6-1, leads 2-1 in the second set. The Phillies in the forecourt. Laura Maloney will serve. New Trier in the far court. Rubenstein on your left, Sigmund on the right. And in the front for Barrington, that's Shannon Tahaney. As Maloney puts her first serve into the net.
There's a double fault. She mishit that ball off the top. I think probably going for a little bit too much on the second serve. They want to maintain their aggressive edge, but I think she was trying to win the point with her serve there. Good deep spin first serve. Pressure's on the returner there. Sigmund mishit the return a little bit. Ball sailed long.
One of the things we talk about, the emotion between these guys or among these guys, but both these teams do an awful lot of smiling, Corky. It's that kind of positive, upbeat stuff.
They're trying to keep each other pumped up, motivated, and ready to go for their opportunities whenever they arise.
Is there a difference in tone between the girls and the boys when they get to this level? The tone of the competition, maybe the crowd has something to do with it?
This, I think, in the finals, at this level, with this much aggressive play, I don't think you could tell the difference. This is very physical tennis. The girls' singles tends to be a little bit more deliberate, but this doubles match is all out aggression. They're moving in, putting the ball away, and this is as much as you saw when we had the boys' final last year.
That last return just out, so 40-15. And a fault on that serve. There's the second.
Okay, lots of power there, but Tahaney was in the middle to cut the ball off and again put the ball into the open court. Trier is going to have to start playing more aggressively and gambling here because they're falling into a hole. They're down one break right now, and they've got to get back on track here. They won Rachel Sigmund's serve the first time in this set, and if they're going to get back in this match, they're going to have to do it again here and do it quickly.
Let's serve, and it is that last shot lands just inside the end line. Barrington takes a 3-1 lead.
Tough break for New Trier. They were trying to get back on track, but Barrington just too tough. Rubenstein stretched out there on the volley. Maloney cross court. Tahaney closes in. Snaps that one down. Again, Rubenstein trying to come back in.
You can only stay alive that close with that fire blanket each other for so long.
Absolutely. This is a game of skill and quick reactions. And this doubles match is testing all of that.
Sigmund will serve again.
Very nice return, low, right at Rachel's feet. She had a very tough time with the volley. But she's trying to get to the net. She's trying to get to the net. She's trying to get back on track. They're trying to play more aggressively. The Barrington team right now controls the net.
And has won the first 2 points of this game. Love 30. Rachel Sigmund will serve again.
Rubenstein moving around more at the net that time. She was ready when the ball got popped up and punched it down the middle. Nice low return by Maloney. Here's the pop-up, and Rubenstein down the middle in the opening. That's what you're looking for in doubles. Try to divide the team and hit it down the middle. Maloney trying to return the favor right there. Hits the ball. But she tried the same thing. The ball popped up, and she was trying to put the ball down the middle. Just caught the top of the net.
30 all.
Nice low return. Volley pops up, and Maloney puts it in there.
Indoors. Well, let's talk about that after this next point. Indoors, how has this match changed? 30-40.
Well, especially considering what the elements would be like if they were playing outside right now, this indoor facility allows them to go for shots that they practice day in, day out, year in, year out, and stay aggressive. They don't have to worry. They can take more chances.
Does that, in fact, give Barrington the advantage?
I think, again, both of these teams are very aggressive. It's just right at this moment, Barrington is just an awful lot better at it.
When you look at how the Trevians have scrapped their way back again, they lost the first set of their semi, needed to dig out a goal, I believe, in the second set against Belleville West. This is an innovative, scrappy pair of players, no question, in Sigmund and Rubenstein.
But the thing that won that match for them is they started playing aggressively. That's what won that semifinal match.
Some of the exterior noise that you hear is from the consolation match that is going on in the very next court.
Oh, I believe there was a let. There's a ball rolled onto the court, so I believe that was a let. They're going to play this point over again.
Belleville West and Champaign Centennial playing for third place.
Good deep serve by Sigmund. Maloney going for a little too much and pulling the ball wide.
And New Trier comes back 3-2 now. Barrington's lead in the second set.
I think the New Trier team has to keep motivated, has to keep working on it. Barrington is still in control of this match.
Trevian's trying to stay alive here at River Trails. We'll be back in a moment on Sports Channel. New Trier holds serve and stays very much alive in the second set, trailing Barrington. Shannon Tahaney will serve for the Phillies, leading 3-2. First serve a little long.
Well, New Trier needs a break to get back in the match. This might be the game. They've had a lot of trouble returning Maloney's serve and Tahaney's serve. At least they can hit back. The problem is Maloney's at the net.
Oh, some tough stuff there.
Yeah, some nice touch on the lobs. They really pushed the Barrington. New Trier really pushed the Barrington team back there, but they missed it just long. Here's Laura running back for the ball. Ball's down the middle. Shannon's backing up. And that ball. Serve was called long.
15 love. But you're right, Tahaney all over the court. She was right there to hammer that thing back had it stayed in.
Trying for the touch angle. Tahaney just catches the top of the net. New Trier again starting to put some pressure, making Barrington think and change the way they've been playing. She's not. Tahaney is not in as close this time, and it's tough to hit the angle from that far back.
15 all.
A great return from Blair Rubenstein. She unloaded, and that time the ball went over the net and basically caught the bottom of Shannon Tahaney's racket. She steps in, hits the ball early, lots of topspin, and Tahaney nets the half volley.
15-30. New Trier would like to break back.
Nice low return from Sigmund.
15-40.
Tahaney hits the overhead off the frame. Barrington started to control this point, but hit a weak volley in the middle of the exchange, letting New Trier back in. And when they lobbed, Tahaney mishit the overhead. Very nice angle by Maloney on the overhead. New Trier had backed up against the tarp to try to return power here. Here's a touch lob. Tahaney smacks it, and Maloney angles it off.
She'll serve again at 30-40. And now we are even.
Okay, a nice deep serve by Tahaney. Sigmund going for the underspin touch return, trying to catch Tahaney at her feet, but hits the ball in the net. A good strategy. Didn't work that time. Okay, this is at the no. Rubenstein hit a great return. Got a little bit of frame, a little bit of strings, a lot of topspin, and this ball comes down inside the line and out of Tahaney's reach. He thought it was going to sail wide.
And we're tied in the second set at 3 as New Trier returns the favor and breaks Barrington's serve.
This is a very tight match. Barrington ran away with the match score-wise in the first set, but I think New Trier is back here to play, and they're playing hard. If Barrington wants to come back on, get back in this match, they're going to have to reassert themselves.
Now, what is Shannon Tahaney taking up with the umpire? Rachel Sigmund comes over to represent New Trier in whatever this conversation is about.
I really don't understand what that conversation was about. It seems like the umpire has straightened it out.
Worth noting that the officials they get for these finals are top shelf. You've got men and women that have worked the U.S. Open,
Absolutely.
for instance.
Very good. They've all worked the U.S. Open. Several of them have worked the U.S. Open. They're all schooled. They have to have a certain number of hours in order to qualify to be on the lines or in the chair at a state event.
Sigmund flashing that racket down.
Well, there's never a good time for a double fault, but with New Trier just breaking in the last game, it's always tough.
So love 15 is
okay. Now New Trier changes their alignment here. They're in an I formation.
What does that allow them to do?
Off the cross-court return. I feel that Tahaney's been hitting some tough cross-court returns. Rubenstein wasn't getting in and volleying them well. Sigmund moves over and covers the shot.
Rubenstein takes a moment. The line judge came behind him, distracted.
Well, that's one way to try to beat the I formation. The server in the situation has to really hustle to get over and cover the line, and Tahaney went for the down-the-line return, but missed it. Here's the down-the-line return. It's a great strategy. It's just too far out. Another thing it does is for the player at the net has an opportunity. Here they are in the I formation again, trying to cut off the cross-court return. It allows the player at the net to poach. They're closer to the middle. That was called a foot fault, meaning that Rubenstein stepped across the line before she contacted the serve.
So she serves again at 15 all.
And she wisely backed up another foot in order to serve that second serve. Well, Maloney had the shot. She's just a little casual coming in. That's why she dumped that volley in the net. She had the court. She had the shot. She knew where she wanted to hit it, and she took her eye off the ball.
What are Maloney and Tahaney liable to be discussing to try to defeat that eye?
I think they're working on trying to figure out whether they're going to lob over the person at the net or try to drive the ball down the line and catch the server before she has a chance to recover. Those are the two favorite options to break the eye. I think another thing they're discussing is whether or not the net person is actually moving. Is Sigmund actually changing her position, or is she just standing pat?
Interesting to watch the individual.
That time they caught Sigmund at her feet and were able to ripped the angle into the alley.
So 30 all. Interesting to watch the individual styles.
Down the middle, Rubenstein was pulled off the court by a very nice wide return by Maloney, and when she stuck her racket out to volley the ball back, Haney was all over this ball and put it in the big opening right down the middle. There you see it.
Barrington bidding for another break. New Trier serving at 30-40.
Okay, New Trier back in the standard formation, trying to keep mixing things up.
When Laura Maloney awaits service, especially when she's the up player, she spins that racket,
She wants to keep herself pumped up, keep her concentration. She's always ready to move the racket into it. And that ball dropped in. I think Haney thought the ball was going long. New Trier's pumped. They were a little down going into that point, but I think that probably lifted their spirits a little bit. That ball was right on the line.
Well, they're back even, and it was a great return by Blair Rubenstein. Right off the line with the backhand.
Right. It was, yes, it was a touch. It required some touch under pressure. She lifted that ball up and laid it down. She's probably done it 1,000 times, but not under this kind of pressure before.
So we're at 40 all.
Okay, another big point in this match.
Because again, next point wins.
Right. No add point right here. Barrington with a chance for a break. New Trier for a chance to hold. Sigmund going for the poach. Sigmund going for the poach just a little bit late on the start there. Lost her balance and missed this volley. She did the right thing. She just got started a little late and lost her footing there. Hit the ball. Can't second guess yourself out here. You just run over, hit it, and live with what happens.
And as they go to their respective sidelines, we'll take a break with Corky Layton. I'm Brian Davis. These are the 1995 IHSA Girls Tennis Finals on Sports Channel. So off the break, Barrington and Laura Maloney serve with a 4-3 lead in the second set.
Okay, they take the first point. Nice deep serve by Laura Maloney. Blair Rubenstein going down the line, trying to catch Shannon Haney off guard, but missed the court.
15 love.
Okay, again, a very aggressive play by Barrington. Started off by Maloney's spin serve and finished by Haney's aggressive volleying. Very nice return by Blair Rubenstein. She moved in quickly on that shorter second serve and pounded the ball at Laura Maloney's feet. Maloney a little slow getting in, catches the ball behind the service line, can't get a racket up to get the ball over the net.
So Laura Maloney will come back to serve at 30-15 and a fault. Just inside.
Fairly short second serve by Maloney that time, but Sigmund can't pull the ball cross court. And Haney's there to end it by hitting the volley down the middle in the open court. Oh, that's out. Okay, again, Barrington playing very aggressive.
And taking a 5-3 lead here.
When they closed in tight here, Rubenstein hit the ball down at Haney's feet and then tried to punch it over Laura Maloney's head, but the ball sailed long. Again, good aggressive play by Barrington. They're controlling this. Was there at the net, and they're going to close it out. They're taking some chances, but they're winning.
With Rachel Sigmund serving the rift of New Trier. Well, it's a cliche, but it's a cliche because it's true. Their backs are to the wall, and they win the first point.
Okay, a nice deep serve by Sigmund. Jams Maloney a little bit on her backhand side, and she puts the ball in the net.
You don't have as many options, do you, serving in doubles as you do in singles?
Well, you've got to consider what's going to happen when that ball comes back.
There's less court to work.
You have to keep moving those people around. Partner can poach. You're really trying to set up your partner for a poach and trying to prevent the returner from hitting the ball at your feet. And there's an example right at her feet. Opens up the middle of the court. And Rubenstein can't come up with a volley.
Rachel Sigmund will serve again at 15 all. .1530 off the double fault.
Yeah, as I said before, there's never a good time for a double fault, but when you're trailing and you're trying to get your team back on track, you've got to put that first serve in. New Trier coach Russ Pollender looking a little bit thoughtful there, trying to come up with a strategy for his girls to get back in this match.
Well, they've only got a couple to do it, but again, you win the point, then you win the game.
Well, a second serve there, but Sigmund got all the way into the net. She just missed the volley. I mean, she was there. She just got a little tight when it was time to hit the ball. Moves in well inside the service line for this volley, and he just dumps it in the net. They're doing the right things. They just got to make it work. Here's match point right here.
Championship break is what Barrington wants here.
Okay. Good deep serve by Sigmund. Good aggressive play by Rubenstein. She was all over that ball. Tahaney almost ended it right there. Couldn't quite find the court on the volley. There's Tahaney going for it and just misses wide and long. Barrington is not going to back down.
.30-40. New Trier must win this game.
Okay, great deep serve. Caught Tahaney backing up a little bit on the serve, but she couldn't get it over the net. But again, a tough serve under pressure. These girls came to play, all of them, and a big shot under pressure again.
Next point wins this game.
Right, we're at the no-ad point right here. Sigmund wanting a first serve. Oh, that was set up by a great first serve, and again, Rachel Sigmund into the net fast. Laura Maloney hit a terrific return, but Rachel was there to volley it and put it away.
And the Trevians stay alive, holding serve and rallying to within 5-4 in the second set.
Well, coming back from being down 2 match points has to pump them up a little bit.
6-1, 5-4. Advantage remains with Barrington, but it ain't over. We'll be back to the River Trails Tennis Center in Arlington Heights momentarily on Sports Channel. Ryan Davis and Corky Layton back as Shannon Tahaney gets ready to serve for Barrington. The Phillies with a 5-4 lead on New Trier.
All right, Sigmund went for the poach that time, cut that ball off as it came up off Tahaney's racket, unable to make the ball hit the ball in the net. But New Trier team looks like they're smiling and they're moving. Okay, Barrington's still very much in control of this match.
Laura Maloney, the more verbal of the Barrington. Come on, let's go. Come on, go.
Okay. Sigmund looking for a chance to neutralize some of that aggressiveness on the part of Barrington, but misses the lob return wide here. Just mishit the ball here. Clear and simple, sails wide.
To look at the previous shot of Sigmund and Rubenstein smiling, slapping 5. You wouldn't know they're 2 points away from being beaten, but you got to have that approach.
Well, they know they could get back into this match, but now Rubenstein mishits a return.
And sometimes what can you do but smile?
That's it. That was just a tremendous serve, very deep. Slid the ball inside, jammed Rubenstein, and she made the return late.
Tahaney will serve for the match in his second consecutive title here.
Possibly trying to win it on the serve with that one. Just sailed a little long.
And the defending champs.
That ball was called wide.
Thought they had it.
Okay, Haney again cut it a little too close on that volley, but she did the right thing. As she closed in, she went for the hard angle. Lots of spin on this ball and just lifted it wide. I mean, inches, maybe inch.
From our ground level vantage point, it's 40-15, so still championship point. Very tough to tell.
And Barrington's still up, motivated and ready to play tough, aggressive tennis here.
Laura Maloney. All right, let's go. Ready to do it.
And the defending champs, well, you can still call them the defending champions. Shannon Tehaney and Laura Maloney of Barrington High School, your 1995 IHSA doubles champions.
Yeah, tough match. Barrington never backed down. They were controlling that match from the net, playing aggressive completely.
Here's the last point.
Second serve. Rubenstein unloads. Tehaney lets it go and the ball sails wide. And there they are, the new state champs.
Barrington wins it 6-1, 6-4. I'm Brian Davis. Corky Layton and I will be back for the singles finals momentarily on Sports Channel. Brian Davis and Corky Layton back at the River Trails Tennis Center in Arlington Heights. You're saying, wait a minute, this is supposed to be an indoor event or an outdoor event. Well, we got chased indoors by the bad weather, and we move on to the main event, the singles championship. And Corky, as you take a look at these finalists, we've got a couple of people that you would have to consider giant killers, starting with Belvedere's Ava Marcial.
Absolutely. Marcial has an interesting style. She's hitting two hands on both sides. Very strong, very consistent, very quick.
Ava Marcial, having defeated one of the heavy favorites going into this event. She took out Annika Cooper, who was a finalist last year and a runner-up to Catherine Nasser of Hersey High School, who was defeated by this woman over here, Marielle Bourbon out of Bloomington High School. Marielle Bourbon having defeated Nasser yesterday. Quarterfinals, and now she is bidding to become, as is Eva Marcial, the 1935 IHSA girls singles champion.
Yeah, Bourbon is very strong from the baseline, also really slugs her ground strokes, has really good depth. We'll see what toll the semifinals is taking on these girls as the match moves along.
As a matter of fact, Bourbon had just a devastating semifinal round. Michelle Dasso of Stevenson High School.
Yeah, she was down 5-2 in the first set and pulled that one off, and was down 4-2 in the third set and came back to win it. She is one tough competitor.
I say devastating, I mean exhausting, draining, emotional. 7-5, 4-6, 7-5, Corky.
Long match. Marcial's match went much quicker. She was off the court maybe a half an hour to 45 minutes earlier than Bourbon.
She defeated Simone Kung of Niles West High School in Skokie 6-1, 6-3. So
Bourbon closing in there to put this point away. Stretches Marcial out and takes this ball on the rise, drives it cross court. Marcial can't get to the ball.
Both these women with great stories behind their appearance here in the finals. We'll tell you about those as we go along.
Well, I think this is what we're going to be seeing a lot of, Brian, as opposed to the doubles matches where the points went very, very rapidly. These girls are just slugging ground strokes, trying to find a weakness, trying to find a breakdown. And there Bourbon puts the ball in the net.
But leads 30-15. Bloomington in the far court, a sophomore who spent her freshman year at the Palmer Academy in Tampa, Florida. She says she did an awful lot of growing up. Again, Bourbon in the far court, Eva Marcial of Belvedere in the near court. And that was one of the keys, she thought, to beating Catherine Nasser in that quarterfinal match. The mental toughness that came from being away from home.
Those kids spend half the day playing tennis and half the day in school. They play a lot of tennis. They get a lot of experience. And to beat top players, you need that. They sacrifice a little bit in terms of their social life and their friends at home, but it really paid off for her in the match against Nasser.
As we take a look at that last point.
All right, Bourbon steps into this forehand and pulls Marcial completely off the court.
And she will serve with a 40-30 lead. Fault called. Eva Marcial is a junior at Belgium High School.
Marcial setting that point up by unloading on that relatively short second serve, hitting the ball inside out, I believe.
Bourbon says it was long. But we are at 40-40.
Right, I think we're still with no ad scoring here, so this point determines the outcome of the game.
There will be tiebreakers in sets 1 and 2 if they go to a third set to bop until you drop. Is that correct?
Absolutely. We play out the third set in IHSA in the finals.
And the first game to Eva Marcial of Belvedere.
Bourbon a little upset with herself, serving pretty well most of that game and then ending the game on a double fault. That's a little disappointing.
When you take a look at what Eva Marcial accomplished once again, she had just a thunderous road. She hardly lost a game in many of her matches. As a matter of fact, there were several that she didn't lose a single game. A lot of loves there.
Absolutely. Well, the game against Cooper, obviously, the match against Cooper, obviously, was the longest and the toughest. But she's got the kind of game that can take advantage of an aggressive player. She stays in the point. She covers the wide balls really well, has two hands, so she's generating a lot of power on both sides, and she's very quick.
She eliminated Kendall Shores of Champaign Centennial 6-love, 6-6-3 in the quarterfinals. And Shores said, hey, I was playing a great match and I still got beat. I think she proved a point, which had to do with the fact that Marcial came in here unseeded.
Yes, Marcial is probably the tournament committee knew she was a strong player, but not strong enough to qualify for a seed. Okay, again, very close to the baseline. These girls are going to play on the outside edges of this court all day long. They love to hit the ball hard, and they love to move their opponents around, and the best way to do that is aim at the lines.
Look at the way, if we get a long shot, look at the way that Marcial will leave her feet as she serves.
Okay, unforced error from Bourbon. She doesn't need any of those at all. She's trying to drive the ball, move it around the court. Marcial just staying in the points, driving it deep, putting the pressure on.
15 all.
Closing in again after driving the ball into the corner and pulling Marcial off the court. When Marcial hits the ball back short on this point, on this shot here, Bourbon able to close in and end the point by driving it deep to the opposite corner. That worked pretty well for her in the first game, and then she went away from that strategy. As you mentioned before, Brian, Marcial here using her legs to help generate some power that she's not getting from the rest of her body. She is good swing. But she's getting a lot of power on that serve there. She hit that second serve so big. Bourbon took a big one from her hand and caught it late.
We've told you a little bit about Marielle Bourbon. Let's talk for a moment about Eva Marcial's pedigree, if you will. She has 4 older sisters, all of whom played tennis, and all of whom, Corky, came to the state tournament all 4 years they were in school. That's amazing.
That gives you a lot of incentive. And I bet she learned an awful lot by watching them play.
As I understand it, her dad just basically opened a book and said, here kids, here it is. Learn this game, you'll like it.
Well, and the end product is a state finalist. Again, Marcial driving Bourbon off the court, but not coming to the net. Just continues to drive deep, hammer these deep ground strokes, corner to corner to corner. And Bourbon misses the court.
So Marcial takes a 2-love lead, and Mariel Bourbon will serve.
All right, that's an example of power against speed. Marcial running down every single ball, hitting this one just a little bit short. Bourbon stepping in, having the choice of going either down line or cross court, and chooses down the line as the runner. Well, Marcial taking a little bit of a gamble there, missing the inside out forehand, trying to go for the big shot.
Bourbon taking a 30-love lead here in the third game. Trailing 2-love.
Yes. Bourbon closed in on that one. These girls are just unloading on every single ground stroke. Bourbon opens up the court. Marcial barely gets it back, and then Bourbon cuts off the angle volley.
If you can believe it, Corky, Mariel Bourbon says she liked playing in that nasty weather we had yesterday for the round of the 16 and quarterfinals. She might even be disappointed that she's been moved inside. Says it helps her focus.
Some players need a little extra incentive. I don't know. The weather outside today was.
She's welcome to it, huh?
Yeah, really. Snow, wind, rain, sleet, whatever. All right, again, Marcial coming in. She's might have second-guessed herself a little bit on that one and let up on the shot. That ball dropped.
And Bourbon sweeps her way onto the board. Marcial maintains a 2-1 lead.
Well, I think the girls have a game style that they're comfortable with. Again, as I said before, they're both aggressive baseliners, and I think that's what we're going to continue to see.
Back in a moment to the IHSA Tennis Singles Championship on Sports Channel. Brian Davis and Corky Layton back in Arlington Heights. The tennis finals moved from Prospect High School. Marcial serving with a 2-1 lead in this singles final.
I believe Bourbon is putting some extra pressure on Marcial. She's starting to try to do more with the ball here. I'm moving Bourbon around, and here she goes for a shot that normally she just put back and play and hits the ball in the net. Ball's long again, slugging ground strokes back and forth. That time Marcial just electing to drill the ball from corner to corner. Bourbon mixing it up a little bit with some spin here. Backs Marcial up, but the ball's long.
Bourbon receiving service outside below the baseline.
Well, we get a good look here at Marcial's use of her leg. She's getting great depth on her serve. And Bourbon is having difficulty returning any farther in. It also allows her to take a big swing. Marcial closing in there, but mishitting that backhand. It sailed long just by a little bit.
You will we'll see as this match progresses, perhaps Marcial's own description of herself come true. She calls herself kind of an annoying player because she goes and scraps with everything.
She hits every ball back, and right now she's hitting everything with authority. She doesn't give Bourbon a target. She doesn't come to the net and give her those open courts down the line. Bourbon there going for a little too much, hitting the ball long.
I say annoying player. Her style she describes as annoying. She's actually a very pleasant person.
Absolutely.
Attempted a return, but a great shot that made Bourbon send that last one long.
Well, Marcial here is moving in down the line. She had set this up with a change of pace ball. Bourbon trying to end the point, missed the court long.
Marcial now with a 3-1 lead. Bourbon serving it in the hole, trying to avoid a break here.
Well, there, Bourbon attempting a little change of pace of her own, trying to draw Marcial in. But when Marcial responded with the short ball, Bourbon hit the ball in the net. That ball was called wide. This is a strategy that's worked for Bourbon thus far, moving Marcial around the court, because she refuses to miss, but she leaves a lot of court open, and if Bourbon can step up and crack it and make those shots, she's going to win more points.
Just missed by a couple of inches. And remember here, fans, we're using the narrower court. Those inside lines are what's out of bounds here in the singles, as Marcial wins another.
One of the things that may come into play here, Brian, is that when either player tries to go down the line, that net is higher than what they're used to playing on in the regular high school matches. They've got the singles net sticks in, lifts the net probably 3 inches higher than it would normally be, and 3 inches for some of these players is enough to miss. Okay, that last ball was long by Bourbon. Again, lots of balls being hit back and forth, very close to the line.
Marcial on the verge of breaking Mariel Bourbon again.
Bourbon again pulled Marcial off the court, moved in for the volley, but put the volley in the net. She's got to make those shots if she wants to win this match. She's got to attack.
That's 2 breaks of service now for Eva Marcial of Belvedere. She has got a 4-1 lead here in the first set over the sophomore Mariel Bourbon of Bloomington.
There she's talking to her coach. I'm sure he's trying to remind her of what her game plan is, to stick with it. It's what's working. She's got to remain confident in herself, her ability to make the shots and not have to aim right at the lines in order to hit the winners.
They spent a lot of time communicating yesterday in Bourbon's match against Catherine Nasser, again as Bourbon spoiled Nasser's bid to become the first repeat champion since 1988-89, and this is the road that she has traveled. And again, after Nasser, she had a tough match against Michelle Dasso of Stevenson.
Well, she's definitely been tested. She's mentally and physically in this match. That ball was long by Marcial. Bourbon that time choosing to stay in the match.
Once again, that punishing 3-set affair in the semifinals against Dasso, who, depending on what happens here, Michelle Dasso of Stevenson finished 3rd here a year ago. In her previous 2 years, she hasn't lost to the eventual champion.
Well, that's an impressive record. I mean, at one point was my pick to win this tournament because of her ability to move it around. Marcial again missing long there. But Dasso, again, unable to crack through Bourbon in that semi-match.
As a matter of fact, that cheering you hear is for Michelle Dasso in her consolation match against Simone Kung and Niles West on the next court.
Okay, Bourbon there, wrong footing Marcial. She's been moving the ball from side to side and hit the ball in the same corner twice in a row. Marcial running to cover the larger open court, not able to get back to the shot.
But with a chance here to break service.
Now Bourbon, by staying in these points, is now forcing Marcial to be a little bit more risky, and she's starting to miss. Maybe Bourbon is actually starting to wear her down by running her from side to side and hitting so many balls back herself.
Well, she has closed to within 4-2 here in the first set. Interesting, Corky, that both of these young women survived what a lot of times happens. You beat a huge opponent, you beat a Nasser, you beat a Cooper, and then you let down, you stumble. Next match, maybe the match after.
Absolutely, and I was especially surprised when Bourbon was able to come back and beat Dasso, because Dasso is a very strong player. Marcial, after beating Cooper, ended up playing an opponent who had also upset a higher seeded player, and so it was kind of on even ground in that match. Again, Marcial, an unforced error in the net. Bourbon, I think, is starting to wear her down. She's gone to a strategy of refusing to miss, still hitting the ball.
15 all.
Okay, there's long again, another error by Marcial. Bourbon, by staying a little bit farther behind the bounce here, is almost making Marcial commit before she decides where she wants to hit the ball, putting more pressure on Marcial and making Bourbon shots more effective. This is what they both want to do, slug ground strokes, coax the other player to the net, give him a chance to win. Nice stab by Marcial, hits the drop volley. Bourbon can't get to the ball. She's conservative. She was tired.
Her shot before that, Marcial completely changed speeds. All of a sudden, they'd been going at a moderate speed, and all of a sudden, Marcial put some mustard on that one. 30 all.
The ball originally called, Bourbon's upset because this ball was originally called out and then it was overruled.
Let's see if we have a look.
She's
there.
reaching
Very
back.
close.
She stumbles over one of the line judges here. Marcial moves in. We didn't catch the bounce on film, but it was close.
The initial call was out and then it was ruled in.
by Marcial. She was working the ball around the court pretty well. Bourbon staying in the point. And all of a sudden, goes for this lob, change of pace. Bourbon drives another one. Another change of pace for Marcial, and the ball goes long.
We have seen as Marielle Bourbon of Bloomington gets ready to serve at 40 all. We have seen her emotion. She's reacted 2 or 3 times now to line toss. Visibly.
I think good players want to have the umpires as on their toes as they feel they are in making their shots. So when something goes against them, they get pretty upset.
Well, it is definitely working for her because she has closed the gap. Eva Marcial of Belvedere now with a 4-3 lead here in the first set of the singles finals against the sophomore Marielle Bourbon out of Bloomington High School. Brian Davis and Corky Layton with you. Corky, the teaching pro at the College Park Athletic Club. We're sitting here in the River Trails Tennis Center, having been forced indoors by unfavorable weather earlier in the day. As we take a look at Marielle Bourbon and her coach discussing strategy. The name Bourbon may sound familiar to Cub fans. You ever hear of the Emil Bourbon Society?
Emil Bourbon.
Yeah, a bunch of expatriate Cub fans, a lot of them living in Washington, D.C. The columnist George Will is a member of that group. Marielle Bourbon's grandfather was Emil Bourbon, longtime Cub. When his 1 year playing for the St. Louis Cardinals won the World Series. Doesn't that sound typical?
There is no place in the world. There's the Chicago connection. Okay. Marcial with a very deep ground stroke there. Bourbon unable to come up with the return. Starts off with a real nice deep serve. Marcial steps in, rips this ball down the line. Bourbon. Bourbon Marcial mishits another ball. She's done that 4 or 5 times in the last few games. She's got a shot on her racket here and an opportunity to open the court and hits the ball in the frame. She just pulled her head up too soon. I think she's trying to see what Bourbon's going to do next. Side ground strokes, lots of hitting. That one in the top, probably ½ inch of the net. Again, this is a story of who misses first loses. They're drilling this ball, but you can't afford to make a mistake out here. Marcial is a lot quicker than Bourbon here. She picked up on the fact that Bourbon was stretched out on that last shot. Here she is getting ready to drill this ball down the line. As soon as she sees Bourbon stretch out, she takes a step in, hustles in for the volley, hits the drop shot. Bourbon can't get back in time to get to the ball.
I try to get anything and everything back in. She leads 40-15. Really gets precise with her serves. Boy, she'll just nail that thing right into the corner of the box.
Yeah, well, that's what they practice. All these kids, they want to see precision with everything. Indoors, it's a little bit easier than it is sometimes outdoors in the wind or when it gets cold, but that's what they're looking for. Ball changing pace. Good change of direction there. Took that ball early off the bounce. Marcial moving in. Lots of top spin. Off her back foot here. Changes pace. Bourbon down the middle. On the rise. On the line on the sideline. Marcial moves in and flicks her wrist and it's gone.
And she's got a 5-3 lead. Interesting on those ones that are close to the line. I guess, Corky, they've actually done studies where the way that the ball flattens out when it hits the ground, what a lot of times if you're looking for the ball as it leaves the ground, it has actually traveled an inch or two, so it has actually made contact inside in play, but it looks to the naked eye as if it might have gone out.
Skids across the line and comes up outside. Exactly, Brian. Okay, that time Bourbon was able to back up Marcial, had to reach way up over her head. It's a lot tougher for her to generate power, even with 2 hands, when the ball's up this high. She's really stretched up and back for this ball.
What a contrast.
Goes wide.
What a contrast between singles and doubles, where you've got the teams pumping each other up.
Right, singles players, except for their coach on the changeover, they're out here by themselves. Of course, they're used to it because they've been doing this for a long time, but they are out by themselves. The crowd helps. They're out there by themselves. They have to keep their focus. They're going for very precise control. Bourbon just missing again, the top of the net. Marcial closing into the net to try to put some pressure on. Running Bourbon side to side. Coming in on the short ball here. Up at the net. Bourbon just missing. That ball's a ½ an inch higher. It's in. It's a passing shot. It's a winner.
They are studies in concentration at 15 all. Marcial with a 5-3.
All right. Bourbon put a little underspin to drop that ball short, and Marcial has some trouble picking it up in time. Bourbon coming in. Here's the underspin volley. Marcial not able to get under the ball enough to lift it over the net. Trying to put enough topspin to bring it in a passing shot. Dumps at the top of the net. The amazing thing is the level of concentration. This is a sophomore and a junior. These girls are grown-ups in the state finals. Bourbon trapped on the baseline trying to pick that ball up off the short hop. Mitz hits it a little late. It sails long, but not by much.
Well, we've talked about Marielle Bourbon's experience at the Palmer Academy in Tampa. Eva Marcial plays regularly with some big-time IHSA talent, including Catherine Nasser, and I understand that you could even argue that she more than holds her own.
Well,
out in Aurora.
She has a very competitive style of play, and the kids in the programs, in the off-season programs, work very hard with each other, and many of them go to different high schools all around the state, all around the country, and they come together to try to raise the level of their game and in turn raise the level of each other. Okay, Bourbon at the net, unable to control this point. She's trying to hit that little slider volley, and Marcial does a very good job of getting under every single one of these balls, and Bourbon unable to put the ball away. That one at the top of the net, trying to go for too much.
40 all, next point wins.
Marcial set that up with a very good return off a short second serve, pulling Bourbon off the court. Bourbon returned the floater. Marcial was right there to rip it down the line, and Bourbon's return goes wide.
And Marcial takes a 6-3 lead, so she is 1 up. Remember, best 2 of 3 in this IHSA singles final. I'm Brian Davis. Corky Layton is alongside. Back to Arlington Heights in a moment on Sports Channel. Brian Davis and Corky Layton at the River Trails Tennis Center. Eva Marcial with a 3-2 lead on Marielle Bourbon, who has the serve in this game.
We were talking earlier about Jenny Nasser and Michelle Dasso both losing to Mario Bourbon here.
We're in a time warp. Catherine Nasser. Jennifer won the
Catherine, I think I did that same thing
couple
last
years
year in the
prior.
final, right?
Isn't that funny?
Right.
Hey, good players are good players.
But Bourbon in the match with Dasso, especially Dasso, she forced Dasso to change her style, and Dasso ended up making a lot of errors at the end, and Bourbon was able to stay in the match and hit deep ground strokes against Marcial. That's not going to be the case because Marcial is not going to miss, and she's not going to take the same chances to close out this match. She's going to run down a lot of balls. Of course, there she wasn't fast enough for that one. That was Bourbon stepped in and took the time away from her, pushed her to the outside, takes this one real early, and Marcial has no chance to run that one down. But if Bourbon is to get back in this match, she can't afford to make errors on the second shot. She's gotta work Marcial around the court.
30-15. 40-15.
And there's Marcial with an unforced error. Uncharacteristic. I think she was going for a little bit more on that short ball and just caught the top of the net. Bourbon hitting behind her. She just pulled up too quick on that. As the two get tired out here, you'll see more of that. Pulling up on shots, trying to recover before they finish a shot. Marcial's very quick, getting to every ball, but she got that one late. That was late. She pulled away. She was running back to the middle in the middle of the stroke.
Muttering to herself about her backhand, and before the camera caught up to her, she slammed her hand down as Bourbon takes that point and also takes the game with it to tie this match at 3. Tie this set at 3.
Well, Bourbon worked her around pretty well that game. Marcial didn't stay in the points long enough. Missing on the touch, going for the touch on the backhand. Maybe a little bit of frustration there. She'd run down a lot of balls. She'd run Bourbon off the court. Bourbon comes with a really nifty little underspin here, and Marcial just catches the top of the net on the touch. Trying to change direction. The ball handcuffed her a little bit. She mishit it late. Bourbon moving Marcial around, coming back into position. Not really having to move that far, but couldn't get out of the way of the ball. It's coming right at her. We were speaking in the beginning of the match about how well Marcial was using her legs to go up to her serve. She's not getting up quite as high now. Getting a little tired. Both these girls are suffering from this long tennis. Okay, Marcial. 30. Marcial pulls Bourbon off the court. Bourbon with a desperation lob down the line that goes wide. Slow the pace down by hitting the moon ball there. Marcial not having any part of it, comes in, takes this ball out of the air, and forces Bourbon to go for a shot a little sooner than she'd like in the net.
30 all.
Bourbon again forcing the play. Very deep return right on the line. Marcial barely gets the ball back, but short. Bourbon jumps all over this ball and drills it to the corner. Marcial can't quite catch up to it. Hits it wide. Marcial definitely not getting as high on reserve. was just a case of trying to end that point a little too early. She really wasn't in a position to hit that shot, but she knew she was trying to catch Bourbon out of position, and Marcial hits the ball wide. A little bit too.
Marielle Bourbon takes a 4-3 lead here.
Just going for too much, reaching way back and hitting it wide. The Bloomington coach seems to be smiling now and trying to keep her focused, much more relaxed in terms of his posture. Gives her a little tap on the shoulder. She's doing the right thing. He's smiling.
They talked a lot yesterday during her quarterfinal match against the defending champion, Catherine Nassar. Just little short bits of information. This is what you're about. This is where you're going.
Well, I think that support is very important, especially when you're playing against the former state champ, and you're basically playing at home, or excuse me, away. You're playing almost at her home stool. She's getting a lot of crowd support, and basically your coach is the only person you can rely on. I'm sure Bourbon appreciated all the support she could get. That point wore on. Bourbon's footwork got slower and slower and more stretched out. Here Marcial catches her, just barely able to get a racket on that ball. Marcial quickly moves in and hits the ball to the opposite side, open court.
Not much you can do about that.
I mean, you got to keep that ball deep against somebody this quick. And there's a tired shot. Bourbon barely reached up high enough to hit that second serve, and then when the ball came back, she wasn't ready to make contact and just went for a winner. Boom. I want a winner now. This point's too long. Ball went wide.
Love 30.
Oh, yeah. But that time it worked. Bourbon goes for the winner on the second ball. Marcial not able to catch up to it. She guessed the wrong way. Marcial got caught wrong-footed. Okay, good depth from Marcial. Good long point. Both girls hitting the ball real solidly. Marcial pulls Bourbon off to the side. Can't quite get a racket on. Still stroking the ball well here, but just a little short, giving Marcial a little bit of angle. Can't come up with the underspin backhand.
Marcial going for the break here.
Great point. Good play from both players, moving the ball around. Marcial content to hit the ball up the middle in the beginning of the point, then turns on, becomes the aggressor, tries a drop volley here that Bourbon gets to. It's a great forehand. Good foot speed on that one.
That high arcing shot. Some players are, the Celis type grunters. These guys aren't really. Dasso we saw, especially in her match with the freshman prospect Laura Granville from Latin. They were grunting it out, but on that shot that she set high, Marcial really let one go.
Right.
Where she was really piling herself into it, and now we're even.
Marcial with the topspin, just long. Oh, and there's an ace. Okay. Good time to have it. Game point. Always gives you a little bit of confidence to hit an ace at the end of the game.
And she takes a 5-3 lead. Mariel Verbin, the sophomore from Bloomington High School. After losing the first set to Belvedere Eva Marcial.
Well, both pros are becoming a little leg weary, and maybe a little less patient, not able to get to quite so many balls. Bourbon pulled that angle off the court. Marcial couldn't get to the ball. Starting to come a little bit unraveled here, talking to herself, slapping her leg. That's a great angle, though, at any time in the match.
If you are, we'll look at it both ways, but right now, with Bourbon in the lead here, if you are Mariel Verbin, you sense that Marcial is wearing out. What do you do?
She has to go with what's been working for her so far. She's been putting pressure on Marcial, moving her from side to side, making her hit a lot of balls, continue to wear her down. There is a tendency with some of the players, and we saw that in a few matches earlier in the week, to get a lead and then play tentative. Bourbon doesn't strike me as a player that's comfortable playing tentative, but she's got to keep moving Marcial around and make Marcial try to change her game in order to try to win. Marcial with the unforced error. Well, she became the aggressor there. She really had Bourbon way out of position and just mishit that ball again. This is not something she's used to doing, hitting overheads and taking balls on the rise in the middle of the court as approach shots. She's used to running balls down. She has to get back on track with her own game and allow Bourbon to make some mistakes. In the court. Bourbon very patient there, aggressive but patient, driving the ball from corner to corner, forcing Marcial out of position. Here's the short ball, takes it on the rise, and within the lines by 6-8 inches, probably 1.5 feet from the baseline. A great shot. Here we are at double set point. Okay, a loose error from Bourbon. She's got to go back to what she did on the last point, work the ball around. Marcial hit a nice deep serve. Tendency to rush in this situation a little bit. Bourbon broke a string on that last return. She's going to go up and switch rackets here. You can't play with a broken string. The ball just goes all over the place.
If you are Marcial, what do you do to try to regain the momentum?
Well, she has an opportunity. Here we have the no-ad point, and Bourbon is hitting with a racket she hasn't been playing with. She's going to right here. She can work her around, but she doesn't. She just puts the ball. Bourbon closes in and puts away the short ball. Marcial should have made her work a little bit harder to win that point.
Game and set, 6-3. We're tied at 1 set aside, so we're going to go to the third. Winner take all.
Well,
Corky Layton and I, Brian Davis, will be back momentarily. We've got us a pretty good tennis match going on here in the IHSA Singles Finals on Sports Channel. Brian Davis and Corky Layton back at the River Trails Tennis Center in Arlington Heights, which is where we've had to move the IHSA Girls Singles Finals, the doubles as well, as a matter of fact. But we've got an even match going into the third set. Mariel Verbin having coming back and taken the second after Eva Marcial won the first. We're underway in the third.
all right, Marcial with an uncharacteristic unforced error on the second ball of that rally. That was good. That was a tough return. Marcial moved into that ball really well. caught the outside of the line.
It's interesting, Corky, that when the ball is out, obviously the official makes a very positive and definitive motion as well as a call, but when it's in, they don't do anything. So it's a little confusing.
You have to look over there because they put their hands together and kind of hold them down by their knees, and then you can't see that as well. Okay, Bourbon's gone back to moving Marcial around from side to side here. And forced an error. And now Bourbon with an error. Their game styles are very similar in that they're both very comfortable playing from the baseline. Bourbon probably a little bit more likely to force the issue. And there she is with an ace on that nice wide serve. Marcial happy to dig out the ball, and Bourbon forcing the play.
Her second ace of the day, and again going back to the stats we saw in the second set.
Okay, a forcing deep serve, even though it wasn't an ace, it caught and handcuffed Marcial. Marcial again with two hands on both sides. It's tough to get away from this ball and get a full swing at it, and the ball is late and sails wide.
Bourbon has a 1-0 lead here in the third set. But Bourbon had 5 more unforced errors in the second set, but she also broke Marcial twice more, 3-1.
And she hit some winners. I think that's a big difference there. She forced the issue.
We mentioned Catherine Nasser, the 1994 singles champion, and we mentioned that we thought she was here, and in fact she is here after having completed her consolation play today. And what does that tell you, Corky, about somebody who, hey, for the love of the game, they stick around. They're not in it. Their team's not really in it, but they're still here.
Dedication. They love the sport. They want to see everything about it.
And another one into the net.
Marcial's got to get her concentration back here. That ball, that's a routine ball. She just hit it 3 inches from the top of the net. Sails one long. It's a longer rally there. A little smile from Marcial, not quite sure what caused that.
Well, if she were a baby, I'd say gasp, but
Can't afford any unforced errors in the third set here. This is way too tight a match. It's just a very, very loose return of serve in the net.
I think you've hit
Bourbon
on it.
Pulled away a little too soon there.
I think you've hit on it. Two tired athletes here.
Yeah, they're putting everything they got left into it. They did have a 10-minute break there between the second and third sets, but 10 minutes isn't a lot to recover from 3 hard days of tennis. Both players happy to just stay in the point, drive the ball from side to side. Marcial saw a little bit of an opening here, tried to flick a cross-court topspin short, and it ended up in the net. Both of these girls are a little tired. I think their coaches probably reminded them of the fact that their opponent might be a little tired, and to work them around, look for an open court, and just like this forehand, hit it to the open spot. That ball called wide.
And Bourbon takes a 2-love lead.
Well, I think at this point, Marcial has to settle down a little bit, stop making unforced errors, start running Bourbon some more if she wants to get back in this match.
Bourbon, a sophomore. Marcial, a junior.
Okay, Bourbon ducked under a bad toss and pushed that second serve long. She's got to go up to the ball if she wants to serve better here. There's an unforced error from Bourbon. The court was open. She just mishit the ball.
As far as being at this point, there's a fault.
Again, that's a tired fault. She didn't go up to the ball.
As far as being at this point in terms of managing your own game when you're fatigued like that, what do you do?
Well, you can try to take a little bit more time between points, but if your opponent is hitting shots like that, there isn't much time to be had. You can take more time between points. You can throw in some rallies. Here's Marcial stepping into this return and just ripping the angle off the court. Bourbon had no chance to get to that ball.
So another break point, level 40.
And Bourbon hits the ball long there. Unfortunately, serving at this point in this tournament is probably not a tremendous advantage because you do have to hit the ball inside the service line, and it may be the only short ball your opponent gets to see, and it's what they're using to start the point off.
And so Eva Marcial breaks her way back in and back onto the scoreboard, trailing Marielle Bourbon 2-1 in the third set. Again, they have split the first two sets, each winning 6-3. Marcial in the first, Bourbon in the second.
Marcial, sorry, talking with her coach here, trying to figure out a strategy. You have to hit it short to put it in the service court, and your opponent can tee off on that return if she so chooses. Now, Bourbon missed the court there. But she teed off on the return to pull Marcial out of position and then went for the open court but missed it long. Marcial retrieving this ball. Bourbon with the whole court open and just misses long. A little impatient. Well, I think we could have predicted that. When she pulled off the cross-court angle on the return of serve, you were pretty sure she was going down the line, and Marcial just didn't have the energy to get over there and hit the ball back. Marcial's completely off the court, standing in the doubles alley, and this ball's probably within about 6-8 inches of the line. Okay.
Along there.
Marcial, knowing that she was way too impatient on that shot, trying to pull herself together here. Taking a little time, bouncing the ball, trying to refocus.
Down the point of the service.
Marcial, quick feet, great rally, working each other around the court all over the place.
And pushing each other to extreme
Absolutely angles. Great angle by Bourbon. Marcial comes back with a better one. Bourbon cannot track that one down.
30 all.
Okay, there's the high part of the net again. I think Bourbon had the right idea. She pulled Marcial off position. She's in the middle. Now here she goes for the wide open court and just top of the net.
Game point for Marcial. Trailing 2-1. Third set.
That's great tennis.
Taking turns, running each other ragged.
Absolutely, driving the ball. Both girls trying to play their style the best they can, moving from corner to corner. Marcial tracking down every ball. Bourbon trying to open up the court so she gets something to hit a winner. Marcial pops this one up. Bourbon hits the angle volley winner very deep. Great tennis.
40-all. Next point wins this one. It's either 2 aside or 3-1 in Bourbon's favor. In Bourbon's favor.
Mishit that ball. No particular reason, just probably lost her concentration. Off center hit. Again, the length of this match and the physical nature of this match has taken the toll on both girls. They get a little impatient and miss a few here and there.
Let's go back to what Mariel Bourbon told us yesterday after she defeated the defending champion Nasser. She said, "It was another match. I had no pressure on me." That's the way she approaches these things. Or she tries to, as just another match. And that does take a lot of pressure off.
Yeah, if you can maintain that kind of focus, I'm sure it does, Brian.
Yeah. That's the trick. That's the trick.
It's one thing to say it, it's something different to do it. You know, there's got to be, you're in the finals. You've got a crowd here. They're not going to let you forget that this is important. Marcial, again, a little bit upset with herself. Trying to regroup, get her game back together. She went for the right shot here, then backed off. This off her back foot, didn't follow through, ball sailed. And Bourbon with an unforced error. Again, she's trying to come back into position before she finishes the shot. The girls are starting to get tired, and they're trying to find some shortcuts. But that one isn't going to work.
Bourbon serving 15-all.
All right, Marcial being the aggressor there, looking for the short ball, coming in, opening up the court, using some nice touch on the volley. Forces Bourbon to hit a very low ball.
Sliced that last shot.
Made it skid, absolutely. Okay, off-center hit by Bourbon, trying to hit the open court after she pulled Marcial up. Just missed the ball a little wide. Good return, but short. And there's the miss hit. Okay, a little touch from Bourbon there, pulling Marcial up, and she over top spins the ball into the net, going for a little bit too much power and angle at the same time.
Faults her first serve.
These are tired. That's again, I don't know how often I'm going to say it, but there's no good time to double fault, but on game point, it's got to be the worst.
And with the break, Eva Marcial, the junior from Belvedere High School, pulls to within 3-2. Sophomore Mariel Bourbon of Bloomington still in the lead here in a very, very hotly contested and closely contested girls finals at the River Trails Tennis Center in Arlington Heights.
We were talking before, Brian, about how these girls can conserve energy. I think one of the things that they can do is take more time on the changeovers, walk into position. The rule is that you have to play to the rhythm of the server. So if the server shows up and gets ready to serve, there is a time limit, and the returner has to be there to play the point. But I think that they would be well served to try to take a little something off their first serve and get those first serves in, because the first serve takes a lot of energy. It's actually easier for them to generate power on their ground strokes than it is to get that same kind of power on their serve. They're wearing themselves down by missing so many first serves. And here's Bourbon. Seems like she's ready to play now.
slaps herself on the leg and says, let's go. And here we go. Marcial with the serve, trailing 3-2. And she puts it into the net.
Well, the legs are getting tired. They can't push up quite as high anymore. Unforced error, second ball. Marcial has to get her head back in this match. Her style is hit a lot of balls and keep running. And Bourbon misses on the return of serve. Both of these girls starting to lose their focus here. This may be a case of who gets back into the match first wins. And Marcial nets the ball, tries to move in and take a shorter ball. And drive it and misses the court.
Ball's a point behind in doing so, and of course, this is where you decide this not by feet but by inches.
This is that first serve again. Well,
the notion.
Bourbon has a choice, and I think she outguessed herself there. She decided to hustle this ball down, but pushed that one a little bit.
She had the idea. Might she have done a more effective job trying to cross her?
Go cross court.
Yep.
Possibly. But the trick there is not to second guess yourself. Make up your mind and go ahead and hit your shot. Going for more than is actually there, just barely wide, but they're playing on the outside edges of the court here.
These become wars of attrition, don't they, Corky?
Absolutely. Just a little late on that ground stroke. There's a nice deep front serve. And Bourbon going for too much and missing wide. They're trying to work each other around, maybe trying to go for those angles a little too early in the point. But didn't miss by much.
40-all, next point wins. And Marcial pulls even at 3 as Bourbon pounds it back into the net.
Yeah, she fell way back on that one, overtopped the ball, and it ended up in the net.
Marielle Bourbon came in here as a 5-8 seed into the tournament. Eva Marcial, as we mentioned earlier, was not seeded. She says that drove her to do a little bit better, tightened her down mentally. It's tough, though, when you, for instance, she won the DeKalb sectional. Bourbon won in Pekin. And when you're here in Chicago, you basically are left with a lot of talent left on the cutting room floor because of the level of competition here.
Absolutely. From most of the out of Chicago areas, I should probably say, Bourbon couldn't quite reach that ball, but out of the Chicago area, most of the good players, all of the good players basically qualify for state, and there are some players that may not be as strong as some of the Chicago players that end up getting eliminated. But it comes down to this, the two best. Now Bourbon misses long on that, but she was doing the right thing, trying to drive the ball deep and move Marcial around the court. Just maybe a little early in the point to go for this much depth. served on the let cord. She worked that point around. Bourbon had Marcial just running all over the place. Finally gets the short ball she's looking for and nails this cross court, catches the top of the net, bounces up about 10 feet in the air and goes wide.
And had Marcial leaning the wrong way.
Absolutely.
Swing the break. Avoid the break. Cannot do it. Marcial takes a 4-3 lead.
No, I think.
Nope, sorry.
I think this ball was called in. Yeah, I think this ball's. Yeah, that's good.
That's
good. Yeah. Well, she was using the lob. Bourbon was using the lob to try to get her air back. I think she was trying to catch her breath there. Marcial hit a great swinging volley, and Bourbon just ripped it by her.
So let me bite my tongue. It's 15-40. Now there, on the double fault, goes the game to Marcial, and Marielle Bourbon not pleased with that.
Well, unfortunately, Bourbon has lost 2 service games on a double fault at the end, which really hurts your confidence.
Brian Davis and Corky Layton back in Arlington Heights momentarily. It's the IHSA Tennis Finals on Sports Channel. We are underway. Eva Marcial with the 1-game lead in service in the third set.
First point here, Marcial's a little wide on that one, but she's opening up the court. For this match, that was a medium-length rally, but it was a lot of movement. Bourbon should have moved in a little closer on that one. She stretched out, put it. I think earlier in the match, Bourbon would have taken this second well, and Marcial popped it up. She would have come in and hit that ball much sooner and ended this point. She waited for that one and caught it late. So a deep serve by Marcial. Okay, Bourbon rushing a little bit, pulled up a little early, came over the top of that one, put it in the net. Marcial up 30-15. 30-15 probably has to be the most critical point in any game. If you win this point and you go up 40-15, you've got a commanding lead. If you lose it, it goes to deuce. If you're behind and you pull it to deuce, you feel much better about your chances. What great tennis. It's hard to believe that this far along in this match, and as tense as it is, as close as it is, that the girls can play this many deep, driving ground strokes and come up with these kind of shots to end it. Bourbon guesses right on that passing shot and angles the ball off to win it, but wow.
Getting back to what you said, Marcial is not feeling particularly good about this right now. Bourbon feeling much better.
Absolutely back on balance here. Bourbon wants to get this ball out of the way so it doesn't roll underfoot during the point. Well, again,
double fault there.
Well, missing the first serve and that long break to move the ball. Marcial broke concentration a little bit. Didn't get enough spin on that second serve.
exhorting herself to come on.
Well, trying to add a little extra there. Drives the ball into the bottom of the net to lose the game. I think she was forcing the issue. Now we're back to 4-4. Okay.
Now remember, no tiebreaker here in the third set. If it comes to it, they play until somebody is 2 points better than the other.
Marcial trying a really short topspin cross court there and missing just wide. In general, when they miss, they don't miss by much. This is precision tennis. Long. We were talking before about the indoor facility and what effect it has on the match. It allows the girls to play this kind of tennis where they can go for the lines. They've got consistent lighting, they've got consistent wind, they've got good bounces. They don't have to worry about a gust coming up and pushing the ball. They don't have to worry about 30-degree temperatures. They can hit the shots they've been hitting all year long.
What they train.
Just misses wide. Marcial didn't quite get around that ball again. Trapped inside. One of the coaches I was talking to in the match before, when Marcial was playing in the semifinals, suggested that hitting down the middle might put more pressure on it because it's harder to get out of the way of that ball down the middle when you're using two hands on both sides.
Bourbon faults on her first serve at 40 love, trying to go up 5-4.
Marcial really stretched out Bourbon on that shot, and she hit the ball well, but barely got a racket on it. However, this opens up the court for Marcial, and she drills this ball to the open court for a winner.
The power that she used on her strokes, I think, spoke Corky to the urgency. She did not want to go down 5-4.
She dropped her body down where it had to be to get the weight behind that backhand. Her forehand just killed the ball. Drilled it. And Bourbon pulls up a little early on that one and hits it into the net.
40-30.
Okay, that's a tired shot. She got caught a little bit off balance there. This is a deep shot, but she hit it off her back foot. Just missed. I had a sense at the beginning of that point that Bourbon was going to be satisfied to just keep this ball inside the lines, but here at the end goes a little bit wide.
So 40 all.
And Marcial mishits the return, took her eye off the ball, maybe thinking one shot ahead here. Bourbon took a little bit off, put that first serve in play. Pressure goes back on Marcial now. Marielle
Bourbon is just one game away from becoming the 1995 IHSA singles champion, but Eva Marcial is only 2 games from that point. And so it goes.
A very close match.
Brian Davis and Corky Layton bringing you what has been some outstanding action. Again, Barrington has won the doubles title. Maloney and Tahaney. Champaign Centennial was in position as this day began to repeat as the team champion. And we have a barn burner.
And no one has left the building.
In the singles finals. Eva Marcial tries to stay alive. She needs this one, hits one long.
Okay, that's the second ball. Does not bode well for Marcial. She's got to be patient and work these balls around if she wants to get back in this match. Another unforced error on the second ball. She's got to get this ball high, start working it around, put some pressure on Bourbon. Bourbon basically returns this ball and Marcial misses. Content to work Marcial around, balls all over the place.
A touchdown to championship point now here for Marielle Bourbon, and she knows it. That combination of grimace and smile, Corky, she's 1 point away.
And Marcial misses on this one. You can see her trying to shake it off, catch her breath. Stay focused. Okay. Marcial misses on the first serve here. Bourbon takes a step inside the baseline.
Call her a super sophomore.
She looks happy.
Marielle Bourbon.
She smiled there.
The sophomore from Bloomington High School.
I think it finally hit her. Yeah.
Winning this one the hard way. Marielle Bourbon, your 1995 IHSA singles champion. Hugs and tears as she comes the hard way in a thrilling victory, a come from behind her over Eva Marcial of Belvedere. And when you take a look at what she did, defeating the defending champion, and then a hard-fought battle, Corky, over the #3 finisher here a year ago in Michelle Dasso, this is doing it right.
She works this point around, pulls Marcial off the court and hits to the open court behind Marcial again to win it. She's excited. It's not just another match anymore.
Absolutely not. And all that separation going away for her freshman year to Florida, obviously it has paid off in any number of ways. Her ability to play tennis, also her ability to do all those mental things that steel you up to get you over the top, as she has done. And there you have it. What a match. And
what a match. What a week.
Credit all around to these contestants, but especially the runner-up Eva Marcial of Belvedere, as Marielle Bourbon of Bloomington becomes your new champion in the singles category. Our next IHSA championship on Sports Channel will be Sunday, November 5th, the boys soccer title match at 8 p.m. Today's match is produced and directed by Doug Stanton. Our associate producer was Dave Ross. Executive producer Kathleen Karp. The vice president of programming at Sports Channel is Mike Bogat. Remote facilities provided by Trio Video. Once again, our winners today, Barrington in the doubles, and it is Marielle Bourbon of Bloomington, your singles titleist. For Corky Layton, I'm Brian Davis. Have a wonderful day, folks. The following has been an exclusive, or the preceding, we should say, has been an exclusive presentation of Sports Channel. So long.
Enter the dream home of the 90s, captured within the pages of Log Home Living magazine. Whether you're dreaming about living in a log home or you're making your dream a reality, Log Home Living is the publication you must have. Every other month, you'll receive your copy of Log Home Living, covering the essentials on buying, building, and maintaining a log home. You'll receive guidance on site selection, creative floor plans, technical tips, financing, decorating, and much more. With your paid subscription of $19.95, you'll automatically get the next annual buyer's guide, 300 pages filled with everything you need to know to build a log home. And as a free bonus gift, you'll receive the Log Home Plans book, including over 100 pages of photographs and complete floor plans that will guide you step by step through construction. This tremendous offer of 1 year of Log Home Living magazine, including the annual buyer's guide and the Log Home Plans book, a value worth over $30, is all yours for only $19.95. Don't let your dreams slip away. Keep them alive with Log Home Living magazine. Call today.
In this edition of Fast Pitch USA, find out who came out on top at the Little League Championship. Then meet up with one of the best youth amateur coaches in the country. Also, we'll see how Georgia High School has changed in lieu of the '96 Olympics in Atlanta, and see why it took the Baylor Bears 7 years to complete a game. Hello and welcome to this edition of Fast Pitch USA. I'm your host, Ann Hunt.